Um, so give me the thumbs up when you're ready. Okay. So I do find it a little bit interesting to be up here giving my testimony because while our church has grown a lot over the last few years, most of you guys have known me my whole life. My parents, my family started to come here, well, to the Church of Minerva when I was still being carried everywhere. Um, but it's been nice hearing everyone's testimonies the last year or so that we've been doing this because everyone's story is so unique, and while mine is too, it's also rather simple because of that fact. I've been blessed to have grown up in this church and not have the same struggles that most people have, not ever hearing a clear message until somewhere well into their adult lives. I grew up with the Bible making sense and without having to do any of the mental gymnastics that churchianity does today to make it make sense. It's two-sided, though, because I do have to work hard to put myself in another person's shoes to understand where they are coming from and to meet them where they are. It can be hard to remember that while the message of grace is so simple and clear to me, it's just not for most people. I can't really give an exact age for when I was saved because I know it was when I was so young, but I do want to share a few things that have really stuck with me over the years. For the first, this is going to be one of my older memories. I was probably only 4 or 5, and I was having some questions. I wanted to know how a person could know they were saved. I didn't know if there was a difference between knowing that Jesus died on the cross to pay for your sins and believing. I knew it was because I'd always heard it as a kid, but does knowing it mean that I believe by default? Because the Bible said that is to them that believe. And I was just too young to understand what the difference was, or if there even was one in my case. I was also too embarrassed to ask at that age and did the typical thing of shifting focus to someone else. And I told my parents that I was concerned that grandpa may not be saved. And I was worried about him. This actually prompted a trip for me and my dad to see grandpa. And I think the intention was probably for me to talk to grandpa about the Bible, but obviously it was dad who did all the talking. I'm really not sure how long it lasted, but it did feel pretty long. I would guess probably an hour, but I am remembering through the eyes of a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old, so I'm not sure. I sadly don't think it went all that well, though, because grandpa was very stubborn and not really interested in talking about it. So my biggest hope for him is just that he had believed as a younger man and that the world had just pushed God away from him as it can to those who aren't grounded, sadly. So that sticks to me because of the fact that we just have to make sure we take the time with people around us, because you never know if you're going to be the one that's the impactful person or not, and you never know what the timeline is for people. Now, the second thing that kind of really sticks out to me is the first year we did the church camp. So over at the Todd's Ranch, I remember Dad being one of the counselors as well as Ed Yarber, and I'm really not sure if Ed knew what church I came from or not, or if he knew that Dad was even my dad, just he was one of the counselors, or if it just didn't even matter to him. But I actually remember Ed pulling me off to the side and asking me if I was saved. And I told him that I was, and then he asked me how I know or how someone gets saved, and my response was quick. And I said that you just had to believe that Jesus died on the cross for your sins. And Ed asked, and what else? I said that he was buried and rose again on the third day. He said, and what else? I said, and that's it. There's nothing else. He said, good job, just checking. I realized later, looking back on it, that he was wanting to make sure I wasn't confused and I wasn't adding works or saying that you had to try and be a good person, or you had to follow the 10 Commandments, or you had to ask for forgiveness of your sins, like so many people confuse the message with today. Honestly, it's something he might not even remember, but it means a lot to me to this day still. I still remember falling on it. It just means so much that he wanted to make sure I had a clear understanding. Now, once again, I've been very blessed not having the struggles that a lot of people have had when it comes to a relationship with God and their understanding of the Bible, just because of growing up here. So I am just grateful for my family and for my church family for making that so. And I just want to say thank you for making my life easier, because I've seen how difficult it can be for people who have had those struggles and don't have a clear understanding. So just thank you all, and that's it.